Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of Spawn, issue number 304, brought to you by Rated Comics. Let's get to it. We begin this issue in the blistering cold winter in the border of Canada. Foolishly, Ed Frank thought he could just escape his past, disappear someplace until he figured things out. This is a Redeemer in human form. But he knew that was just a dream. Heaven wasn't just going to let him change sides. They invested too much into becoming their great warrior. They called him the Redeemer. And until last week, that's all he thought he'd ever be. Then he made a choice, once forced upon by Spawn. And then there's these two brothers that are agents. They're like, we have a visual on our target. He's been hiding in a small town on the Canadian border. I think he's aware of our presence, but he hasn't engaged us yet. Well, then the other intercom was like, is he in his human form? Where is he at? And then they're talking about, well, he's trying to lose us in the crowd, and I don't think he wants us to fight him in public. And the other voice on the intercom was like, well, that's too bad for him. Your orders are to eliminate the target by any force necessary. And we want to send a loud and aggressive message to the rest of the world. Do you understand? Oh, and these brothers do know the assignment, but it's a brutal assignment nonetheless. And in a heartbeat, the carnage begins. Without a moment's pause, before the savage slaughter they're going to inflict, they start shooting at the crowd. Women, Santa Claus, angels, children, everyone gets some of this action, gets some of this smoke. No one is safe from any of this smoke. And instead of standing his ground or taking on his new form, he chooses to flee, not even taking a chance to form into Redeemer and fight this out. You coward, says one of the gunmen, and he gets shot in the leg. You know what God does to traitors? He shoots him in the snow like a deceased dog. And that's where we end this panel. We go into the next panel with Spawn, and Mark in base. And Spawn's like, did you even think about what you were doing? That they'd come looking for everyone? All of us? Did that even cross your mind? And Spawn's like, look, man, I know you're upset about Nick's getting killed. Yes, I am upset. But don't condescend me, Spawn. It's because of you, she's dead. And then Spawn and Spawn get into an argument like, what do you want from me? Hey, you know what? I want to stay alive. These powers, I didn't want these powers. And Spawn's like, well, you got them now? Well, and so Mark's like, yo, can I suggest something? And their eyes glowing green. They're like, no, Mark, like angry ass parents. Don't tell us what to do. We are the parents. You're just a kid up in here. So with emotions running high for everyone, Mark's intrusion creates the awkward silence they all needed to get things together. So Spawn's like, look, man, I promise Nix wasn't supposed to die. I was, not her. It was why I planted slivers of my costume and 5 other people so they can take over once I was gone. So they're like, so you're planning on killing yourself? And Spawn's like, yeah, I tried that, but it didn't work. And the only way to make sure that things work was to get heaven and hell in the same place with the same agenda. That's why I let them jail me, why I went public with my identity to confuse them. I hit their business and turned their media on them. And of course they were going to hunt me, but their alliance gave me the chance I finally needed. But when I triggered my bomb, it was supposed to kill all of us. And this is going back to issue 300. So Mark's like, so you were planning on killing yourself? Spawn's like, yeah, if I had to. Well, it had the opposite effect because your spawn force is multiplying. Do you even know who or what they are? Or whether you have any control of them? And Spawn's like I said, I know where I planted my 5 seeds, but the other 7 that are showing up on the map, because there's a total of 12, I have to make a determination about them when I hunt them down. And he suggested how we separate the 5 from what I know of the rest. And Mark's like, well, there's one up in North Dakota sending the same core reading as a dead zone in New York. In fact, it seems to have originated from New York. And Spawn's like, okay, boys, I'm about to be unglued because all I care about with any of those blips is any of them have a connection to Nix. And if they do, I know where I'm going. And Spawn's like, well, it's Eddie, that angel called Redeemer. It has to be up in New York. Yeah, that's by the Canadian border, right? At least that part of New York. So Mark's like, then you're right. It has to be him, but something's wrong. His movement pattern is pretty erratic since I picked up his signal. It's probably because they're hunting him, says Spawn. So Mark's like, Jesus, you said they were trying to hide from the public? These aren't the same numbers, says Spawn. They're another breed. And Spawn's like, well, I'm coming with you. And Spawn's like, good. I could use all the help I could get. And Spawn's like, good. I could use a little bit of anger release. My mind went somewhere else with that kind of release. Anyways, back to the review though. Meanwhile, half a world away in the Vatican City, these two guys are talking about how they've been able to ascertain the origins of the new signal because they think it's tied to the Albanian incident, which is a previous Spawn issue. I believe in Spawn 300 or 301. I believe it's 300, but luckily I did reviews from Spawn 298 all the way up to 304, and then a gap from 314 and on, which I'm trying to catch up with this whole Spawn comic book review journey, which has been fun lately. So, and thank you guys for your support and watching these videos, by the way. So back into the review, they're pretty sure that when those signals came in, they came off the board immediately after Spawn and Clown fought. So they have to assume that those readings are from that when Spawn and the Violator fought. So somehow this guy is like, so somehow Spawn kills Clown and one of Heaven's top operatives, then magically starts multiplying himself. Is that what you're saying? And they're like, what I'm saying is we're monitoring the situation, but it's too early to determine if these new forces are coming from Hell's side or Heaven's side. Then this guy's like, okay, well then let's find out now. If we're at war with more Spawns, that's a huge problem. It's time to release our hunter. So in a subterranean basement below the Vatican, one person's like, kill all the lights. We see medieval Spawn with the lights, and the lights just kind of paralyze him. Not kill him, but paralyze him, immobilize him. And medieval Spawn's like, oh, all right, you know, I'm kind of getting my bearings here. So the Pope is like, we know you like the darkness better, and we both know you've been down here a very long time, constantly screaming about your righteousness, about your devotion. Well, my son, the Lord has sent me a message. He wants you to perform a mission for him, to prove if you're truly one of us. Because there are forces at play who want nothing more than to discredit us from the rest of the world. And sadly, some of those who mean to destroy us are rogue agents from heaven. He's talking about the Redeemer right here that's on the run from these agents. Or they're traitors, loyal to only themselves. We need you to find out who these new intruders are. Who do they work for? Satan, God, or Spawn? And once you determine those answers, kill those who you deem unworthy. Now we see that Redeemer's on the run, medieval Spawn's about to go on a hunt. She-Spawn and Spawn about to go after Redeemer to get after him because his signals are going off the charts. Everyone's on the hunt for one another, and medieval Spawn's like, your soul, child, it's time you laid it bare. And that's where we end this issue. And I'm gonna leave a little meat on the bone because in the second chapter there's a second book called The Miracle within this issue. I'm gonna leave that for you guys to review, for you guys to read. Little meat on the bone, so to speak. If you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection, link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. My thoughts on this, I love this story arc of the Hell Hunt. I love Spawn going after, you know, Spawns and Heavens and Hell's agents one by one by locking up the dead zones. And I think this is a gangster read. It's a very fun read, and She-Spawn and Spawn's dynamic, at least being introduced to it, it's a gangster fun time to me. And not to mention, I know Spawn said he slipped a piece of his symbiote into 5 other people, but what are the 7 all about? That's what I'm curious about, and this is getting interesting, and I'm looking forward to continue on with this issue as well as 305 and beyond. So with all that being said, Spawn issue number 304, The Hell Hunts Part 3. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content I'm throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy, don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.